But with that said, it's different. But I mean, do you still like the team that you've drafted? Do you think it would be competitive?
Yeah, I don't like it as much as the last mock draft we did, but I don't. I mean, I know everyone says this about their team, but I don't think I would finish in the bottom 4 to 5.
Yeah, it's really easy to be optimistic before the season starts.
Yeah. By the way, I saw your comment on the roundup of whose team you liked most in the last draft. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it sounds like you and I have a lot of players that we value highly similarly. So I'm looking at pitchers here. A closer, perhaps. A starter, perhaps. Maybe an outfielder, although I'm still kind of just not liking the options being presented. I think the closer I have ranked highest on the board right now is Ernesto Ferrari, mostly just because he strikes out a ton of guys. I mean, the ratios aren't great, but I'd rather just take the guy who's going to give me 90 plus strikeouts and some saves. So he's a guy I'm considering. With that said, I don't think I'm going to go back-to-back closer here, so I might just pass on that for now, take a starter that I want, and just take whichever my top-ranked closer is on the way back. And the starter I would take here is probably Clay Buchholz. I think it's a bit of a reach, actually. Or maybe not a reach, but I'm not excited about the pick. And he's kind of buried in the rankings, so I could wait on him a little longer. And actually, yeah, with that said, I think I will just take Frary. Get the closer I want, and I mean, if Buchholz doesn't make it back to me here, I could just take another pitcher, or I could go offense. I tend to not care about my relievers, ERAs, and whips too much, unless they're like total train wrecks.
Yeah.
Like John Axford ended up being last year. Is he closing in Cleveland?
I think he is.
Man, talk about a risky pick.
Did you see is he the one that it needs pitchers got all 18 of their Oscar picks, right? I think it was him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so maybe it'll be good luck for this season.
Uh-oh. Or maybe he just shot all of his luck right then and he's
Yeah. I missed David Robertson on the board when I just picked Soriano. I would have picked him over Soriano.
I think he was right underneath him.
Yeah. This damn live stream.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to be watching the video as you're doing it.
No, I'm not watching the video. It's
okay.
It's just I'm not used to talking while drafting.
Yeah. Do you ever draft in person, like everybody in the same room with a cardboard or whiteboard or something?
Did one last year like that. I don't know about this year, but I think we have that planned out. It's definitely exciting.
It's my favorite way to draft by far. All that talk about taking a pitcher here, I have changed my mind. I'm going to take Sal Perez, the Kansas City catcher. I don't usually take catchers this high. I mean, it's the 15th round. It's not especially high, but I think the way my team is constructed, getting like a high batting average catcher would be very good for this team because I do have some batting average risk. And realizing that I'm taking Perez now kind of makes me regret the Billy Butler pick. I probably would have regretted it regardless because I don't like Billy Butler, but yeah, I feel pretty good about that. Sal Perez seems like a good value here. And I do like that potential for batting average at a premium position like catcher, because a lot of these guys, especially the ones remaining, are just going to be in the like 250 to 265 range at the end of the year. So Steve mentioned in our last mock draft, and he's correct. I kind of hated on his team a little bit. I didn't hate the team. It's just not a team that I would have drafted. And he said that he went the opposite way this time, and he wants to see what I think. So I'm gonna take a look at it here. He's got Freddie Freeman, Robinson Cano, Adrian Beltre, Gene Segura, David Ortiz, Jed Jerko, Trumbo, Alfonso Soriano, and Nelson Cruz. on his offense, and then his pitching staff is made up of Verlander, Iwakuma, Shelby Miller, Kenley Jansen, and Trevor Rosenthal. I do like this team a lot more. I again think you're taking on a lot of batting average risk, namely with these 4 players, Jed Jerko to Nelson Cruz, like all lined up in a row here. Jerko, Trumbo, Soriano, Cruz. So you might have to dig yourself out of a hole there. With that said, you don't have to win every category. Like, I understand that. But this feels like a bit more of a balanced team than the one you drafted last time, Steve. And I'm actually a big believer in Verlander this year. I'm not sure how you feel about Verlander, Zach.
Yeah, I like him. I know there's a lot to be said about pitchers underperforming compared to their peripherals and how it's not a fluke, but pretty much the whole year, at least the first half of the year when he had a rough start, he was out pitching his results, and I think people were overreacting just based off his 2 amazing years the year before. I don't think he really pitched as bad last year as everyone was thinking.
Yeah. So yeah, when it comes to Steve's team here, I like this one more. I don't even mind the 2 elite closers. I think that now that he's got those 2 guys, he doesn't really need to take another closer. He could take one more and like really kind of cement his position as being competitive in that category. But I think I just like the offense here a lot more than on the last team he drafted. Meanwhile, my own team is coming together a little differently, and again, it comes back to like selecting pitchers earlier than I normally would. These kind of outfield spots that are glaring back at me here, the 2 empty ones, that wouldn't have happened if I had taken Sale, or if I hadn't taken Sale when I did. And seeing where I landed David Price in the 7th round, man, if I would have passed on Sale and taken like my favorite outfielder in that spot, I think I would probably like this team more. Also, especially considering the fact that the Cole Hamels pick wouldn't have happened. But yeah, I mean, this team's coming together. The offense is a bit riskier than I would like, or just a bit different than I'm used to drafting. And I don't know. I think the last draft was a 12-team league. This is a 10-team league. Somehow this league feels more shallow, and it might just be because of the extra roster spots, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with it. I mean, before we had 2 less infield spots. I don't know if you saw, but Clay Buchholz just got picked.
That's okay. It was kind of... I conceded him as soon as I decided to take Salvador Perez. There's definitely a jinx of, if you talk about a player, they might not go that round, but if you talk about them and it goes past 2 of your picks, you're definitely not getting that player back. I've noticed that time and time again.
If you talk about them and Steve hears you, then they're definitely getting picked.
Just good luck with that.
So I know he's a little bit farther down Yahoo's rankings, but I think I'm going to take Justin Masterson with this pick.
Masterson, okay. I'm not much of a Masterson believer. I tend to prefer pitchers who strike out a lot of guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. Before last year, I tend to believe that last year wasn't so much a fluke.
Okay, I mean, are you basing that off anything in particular, like peripheral stats, or?
Yeah, both I guess all 3, but he dramatically reduced a batter's contact outside the zone as well as inside the zone, and I think that speaks a lot to him improving his sinker and slider. And if he truly improved those pitches, I don't think it'll be a fluke, because plate discipline stats don't tend to be fluky.
Steve is saying that you just snaked him on the Masterson pick. He was hoping that he would come back. These folks are also saying that the last mock was 10-team as well, and I could have sworn it was 12, but I guess it was not.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm almost back up here again, and I was looking at Tony Cingrani, but I think I left him in my queue too long for other viewers to see, and yeah, I missed out. unfortunately. Michael Bourne was just selected. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Poor Michael Bourne. So I'm looking at either an outfielder or a pitcher here. Outfielders available. Still no one really screaming my name. Aoki is a guy who's interesting, but I mean, you look at Carl Crawford right next to him in the rankings, and I don't think there's a whole lot of difference between those two guys. Or even just waiting even longer for like Alejandro De Aza, you know? With that said, I mean, the outfield's getting really thin here, so I think if I want any of these guys, I should probably just take them now. Brandon Moss is interesting just for like the insane power potential, but that batting average really scares me on a team where I already don't feel great about my batting average. Yeah, I'm really on the fence here. Starting pitchers available now. No one's really jumping out at me. I could take another closer, and I might just do that. I think the guy I have ranked highest is Jim Johnson, or maybe Houston Street. I think I have Street ranked higher, so I'm going to take Houston Street here. Just kind of get that out of the way. Second closer. We'll see what happens with these next 4 picks, and when it comes back to me, I'll kind of be put on the spot between taking another starter and actually taking an outfielder. And because I started talking about Brandon Moss before that last pick, there's no way he's going to come back. But he's definitely on the radar here.
Yeah, he's a guy I've been taking a lot as a 4th or even 5th outfielder if I don't have any power. But this draft, I have a ton of power, so you don't have to worry about me taking him. But yeah. Steve might take him.
Steve will always take whoever you are thinking about taking. Oh, man, okay. What is my plan here? I mean, what do you think I should do here? Just play the angel or the devil on my shoulder. You can see my team, what I need, and you can see the players available. What would you do in this spot?
I think you have to go outfielder. I know you don't love any of them, but even where, I don't know, I'm sure I haven't seen your rankings at all, but I mean, if you wait, even around.
Yeah, if I wait around, I might miss out on anyone who's actually even starting, and I'll be playing like, I don't know, Ichiro in outfield, and I don't know if that's something I can deal with. All right, so looking at the outfielders available, who do you think fits this team the best? I mean, I think Moss is actually the best option available here. I don't know if he's the best option available for this team.
Yeah, well, as a random comment, I noticed that Michael Brantley has jumped up the rankings like crazy. But I don't think you can take Michael Brantley here, but I think if in a couple rounds he'd be a solid pick for your team with a little bit of average. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Dexter Fowler?
I'm not really a believer. I think if I was going to take Dexter Fowler, I'd probably just take Carl Crawford and hope for some upside there, or Aoki for the same reason. I mean, even Brantley, to be honest, is a guy I like more than Fowler. But I don't know. You could talk me into it. I just don't think the power's real. I don't think he's going to ever hit for more than like 15 home runs at most, and I think 8 to 12 is kind of his range.
Yeah, I like Adam Eaton here, but I think team could use more power than he provides.
Yeah, I think with that said, I'm going to take a shot on Christian Yelich here. Another young player. I don't know if he's going to put up a 288 batting average over a whole season as a second-year guy. But, I mean, I'll gamble on some upside here. If it doesn't work out, I didn't give up much. That was a 17th round pick. And I don't know. I guess it's possible I should have just gone for one of the big speed guys like Ben Revere, or I guess Aoki's not a big speed guy, but he's got some wheels. Because looking at my team, I do have some guys who will steal a few bases like Goldschmidt and Kinsler. But the only guys I have that are going to steal a lot of bases are Gomez and Andrews. And that might not be enough to like remain competitive in that category. I tend to not worry about that as much relative to other stats, but